this particular video podcast, I will be reviewing The Idol, Season 1 of the Limited Series, Episode 3. Okay. Now, if you like what you hear or see as far as looking at the pictures at the moment, you can go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Tasha C TV, and the Tasha C Show, which more so deals with the podcast, but you can also subscribe there. Or you listen to Spotify, Google, Apple, or even Amazon, and so forth, and other major platforms. You just type in the Tasha C Show and go ahead and click that follow. Okay, let's get into it. Now, of course, we know last time Trejo Treados has just told that he's moving in after the lovely night of passion. But I already knew that, considering that, I can't say this is guaranteed with Treados. He brings a couple C's. He brings chaos, confusion, control, and his rhymes with rock, as he wanted to tell when they were having this, foreplay with live phone, tell her what to do, and his wow, getting a stereotype video, what he referred his eggplant to. Now, again, we have to see that one thing they're gonna give is nothing but showing nudity, especially over exploiting in this series, which one of the creators is also Euphoria, which also deal with one of I think Sweeney, I forgot her name, Casey or something in the show. I haven't watched season 2, y'all, or the kind of like the in-between special episodes of Rue and I think Jules. I didn't watch them yet. So other than that, we're going to be guaranteed to see that. We see, besides with Tedros with his do-rag, he is showing, and that's the first time I think I haven't seen Weeknd even shirtless and he's tatted out. I don't know if that's a part of his character or is all those tattoos his, but it's kind of flip-flopping where some of the filming goes where it goes and flip-flops between currently what might have happened like 10 hours ago or the day before, or it kind of goes in and out like that, wishy-washy, almost like a washing machine movie. But anyway, y'all, of course we see he's talking about let's go shopping, and I'm thinking like to myself watching that part, oh, he means with her money, because we know he's not doing that. Heck, and who's running his club? I seen him with up there, and, Isaac torturing him. I don't know where he was shocking, whatever, in the gold shorts. And other than that, I have not seen, besides in the club, where were they staying at? Were they staying inside the club? Who's running the club now? And in between, on and off the scenes, before we see them on, oh Lord, a way to go shopping. You see, when they're on the way shopping, Leah got to be up there driving the stuff. She's like, oh Lord, driving the car. And he's like, she killing the mood. I mean, they're already tucked, and of course they got to have Josh as usual in an outfit that has to show everything, whatever. She's giving us, of course, the butt tees, booty shorts, and I don't know if they booty shorts or just panties at that point, which she was wearing with a lovely top. I mean, it's she's got the board. She's a nice looking in it. But what I mean by that is, it's just like they always have this woman in this, except that one time she was talking to Sham, talking about she wants to change. I mean, she wants to change, but they always have this woman naked or semi-naked. And this third Tedros, wants to go ahead, and he decides that he's gonna go down. He go put his face, shout out to Usher and Forward Sprock, check our channel as well. To put his face in a place in the back of the car, right? And there's nobody else in the row as we see. So I'm just like, well, so she up there he up here, get a face in the place, whatever, for a while until they get, up there. And like I said, he complained about like killing the room. And of course, the lady had this look like, oh my gosh, this is too much. I like the way she just did her when she was going through her phase in One Night Stand. Because I forgot to mention in the last interview when they were talking about in between the video shoot, not only when being there when her mother had passed away from cancer, but also that when she was going ahead and dealing with, at the same time, a man that cheated on her. So she was this was on time that was mentioned about it. But now it's just like, now she's falling on the trail of something different. He brings out the lust, the kinks, and some other stuff. Well, like I said, I will tell you this, y'all, the half of the rest of this review will be better, because it was actually a lot of gems that were strong on the dinner scene, okay? But anyways, y'all, he's telling to go ahead and stop conveniently at a store, I think Valentino's, okay? And it's a store where all these fans are at, waiting for Jocelyn. Oh my God. So it's the way that he made her go somewhere, and probably Google and tweet, whatever he did, and say at Josh gonna be, or have one of his, slaves. I meant cult followers. No, I meant slave cult followers, whatever. Probably text and see, send out something to say where she was at, because that was too much convenience that they were right there. So before I go into the darn annoying ass addressing part, there's a part, y'all, where Leah is calling Destiny and Sham. They're waiting and they're at the house. And this part was a little confusing, because I don't know when Destiny was referring, she's a dumb bitch. And twice, when she's trying her best, when she's outside while pacing back and forth, she's calling, I guess in the code with 911, explaining how he's just taking over everything. So then they go between, when they go into the place, and of course, Tedrill's up here like, can you get her something as sexy as her? And of course, the sales associates, but like, yeah, sure, we gonna hook it up, Probably hopefully get commission, considered the fuck. I'm not even leaving that. I was not trying to do an F5, but here, in this review, but here we go. But anyway, y'all, this is what happened when the beginning, which was not surprising, because the minute you up here electrocuting somebody because they ain't dropping it low enough or whatever, I don't know, it's supposed to be for Chippendales, Chocolate City, I don't know what he was trying to have Isaac do, or like when he's singing and stuff, whatever, to give this sexual grind or whatever to the ladies, which they were not phased, his called the cult members, whatever, right? But so I already knew it was going to be flip-flopping, even how he's like, I don't, with Diane, whatever, is supposed to be, I don't know, it's supposed to be his main girl, and he's basically doing all this stuff with Jocelyn, like to, not only do a come-up, but, let's say to come up, but is Diane, gonna go back with Diane. We only have 3 more episodes left, y'all, and there's a lot to unpack, so. But anyways, y'all, it's in the morning. Chloe's, she probably got some clothes on, because nobody came in no briefcases and stuff. Okay, who he brought, And Chloe already told you, I paid attention all of a sudden. She had no clothes on when she up there just running the swimming pool, which she was permission from her master trails, and then just went into the pool. But then on top of that, next minute she got thrown, and I'm like, wait a minute, this girl just going, getting her panties, just putting them on and stuff, probably wasn't even a full plaque, you don't even know, just taking her stuff, wearing her clothes, and now you sitting your stinking ass on the counter. I mean, no, she was clothed with some pajamas on about 9 times out of 10 pajamas, but they all sit at the table. Isaac and the chef, that fine chef, which I was pissed off as hell of this scene. Now, yeah, even though it was like Bill Putsch, because the chef Andreas, because let's say she fired the chef, and firing people, based on his decision, because he's all on the by trails. There's a couple things going. Like I said, this scene is going on and off between that morning and before the mess. We seen the car and on the way to the store, which conveniently had some fans, which we all gonna knew. Even though Jocelyn scratching money, maybe she used a black card to pay for the stuff. I don't know, but all of a sudden, he's up here on the phone with, talking to somebody, and I paid attention to this part when he's like, oh, yes, you get producer Mike Dean. Yeah, it's no problem. I'm working with the artist Jocelyn, so money is no object. I guess it won't, because it ain't damn sure ain't coming out your hairstyle. It damn sure ain't coming one of y'all pockets, whatever. It's basically he's going to screw and choke a joker out of all her money and common sense and self-esteem and everything else, okay? So, but anyways, y'all, going back. This scene also, it goes flash to the chef when they was talking to them about the chef part. And she's like, she's firing people. And like I said, Destiny's taking the share when they went at the house for them. Like I said, this is going back and forth. That's why I'm kind of talking wishy-washy back and forth, because that's what they presented us, okay? If you watched it. But Destiny's telling him twice, like, that's a dumb bitch. That's a dumb bitch. I'm like, is she talking about Leila, or is she talking about Josh or whatever when they talking about taking over the house? But like I said, Chloe, pajamas or not, why is she sitting, got her, her behind like she doing some yoga stands, some sitting position on top of I know the island's big enough and everybody, and everything, but that don't mean you're supposed to be sitting there. And then, like I said, Mr. Addis, Mr. Chef, was like, he was touchy-feeling on her stomach. And he's like, oh, those probiotics and stuff are working. And Tasha was like, what the hell is you doing? You touching my lady? It's a problem with her. He was like, what? And Josh was thinking like, what? Maybe he's used to doing that or whatever. But he goes over, Tasha goes over, and I'm not gonna say. I think did he smack him harder than Will Smith did Chris Rock? I don't know. But anyway, he smacked him, and of course, he could be outnumbered. And then he tells her flat out, Josh, so your service, basically like, your service are no longer lead. You're fired. Get the F on. And she's like, yeah, I think it's time for to go. So basically, even though who knows how many times he's probably been able to touchy feely, and maybe she okayed it, even though that was crossing the line, that's something it seemed like she was comfortable with. She was just happy that her stomach, was getting together, and the probiotics, helped the tummy or something. And Trejo's like, that's my lady, whatever, get the F on. And then he also told her at the same time, that right before then, right, like I said, we don't know, but he also had to inform her. He was like, about getting, this Mike Dean, producer and some other stuff, not what Mike Will made it, but it's Mike Dean person, that knows Kanye West. And she's like, I still have to, to okay certain stuff with Josh. He was like, I'm running a night. And then he's going to call and say, are you re? I'm not about to say the word, but re. Okay. He had nerves to call it that. And, like I said, Tedros has proved that he's very slimy. Just like that tracksuit top that he had, tracksuit windbreaker that looks like it was from the 80s, and had on like some church slack, gray pants on. Okay, he is giving us 80s vibes going wrong. I don't know what's going on with this outfit. Okay, so yeah. So she's all telling this stuff there. Like I said, back to Valentino's, which was spearing us all. He's all, trying to, let's get something sexy. He all telling Josh she don't know how to dress. I was like, I'm okay with my style. They go back and forth as far as like, play for first. But he was like, but Josh told him, for you to be worried about me and what I'm wearing, you must be gay. To get on her nerves, but she did on purpose to get him so he'll have this, like I said, this connection, which may explain why she has a connection with Sir King Eruption. So they're getting on and banging it right in the dressing room, just bang, 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 bang. But I think right before that, or around that time, before I finished talking about the bang bang, shout out, rest in peace to John Witherspoon. One of the guy was he was intimidated because it was a guy, a black assistant, a young man. So he was intimidated by this dude, and he's like, "Are you looking at my girl? Are you looking at my girl? Looking at my girl, or whatever." And he's like, "No, I don't know where you got the impression." Because he just said a nurse said, "If you keep looking at my effing girl, I'm gonna I'm gonna drag you by your ass." That's literally what he said. Drag you by your ass. I'm gonna drag you by your ass. We gonna have that. You're gonna be a problem. Okay. And he's even asking, I guess, like another sister or his mentor stuff. I mean, hey, are you sure it's meant for the work? And the woman's even like, yeah, he's not doing nothing wrong. He's doing what he's supposed to do. So they're up there banging in the dressing room and stuff, because he all smacked her. He all, almost doing the smack. And I'm not trying to make this dirtier than what all it is. But sometimes when you smacked, or if you personally had this done, being smacked in something in the face, he's smacking like, here, you like that, like that. I'm like, he just seems like he watched a lot of corn. And it seemed like, almost like, if he could, I don't know, Weeknd would have write this in it, but it was, if Edgar would have used it when he would have smacked his implant in the face. Okay, I know I'm cross, but I'm just saying, it's already too much going on in the show anyway. But he's about to say, he's about to, she pulls, because I guess the other times maybe use a condom, or he pulled out before they, that happened. But she realized that, oh, okay, you gonna trap me too with that? And then she gets off of him. And he that out of there. So he's like, what am I gonna do? So he jacks himself in the dressing room, and she up there still drinking wine. And then I looked at the outfit, tried on, and I guess he looked and seen, he had jizz all on his hand and stuff. And then I'm like, oh no, you nasty motherfucker. So he got nerve audacity to rub his jizz on the shirt. So they end up getting getting their stuff, whatever. When they asked the mother, when he come out afterwards, after doing that, and then they didn't show like when it ringed up, so who pays what, but we know she did. So they back at the house, and Cham and Destiny are waiting in the car for them. We change from scenes. I noticed though, he didn't try to like come at Destiny and Sham like he does people, I guess, that he feel get intimidated by. Because his crew was in the house, they would have came in there and could have did something, whatever, but he didn't. And so, he pulls out his little necklace, whatever, I guess, to show, like, he's all right. He goes ahead and they sit with him like, oh, so Johnson, oh, how are you? Blah, 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 but they played nice, to pretend like they were interested to him. He was like, so, nobody's really from Hollywood, I think, Destiny is. So how are you? Everything's going on. He was like, I know Mike Dean, I know producer. And, so he ends up going ahead and telling that, when Jim asks, like, nobody's really from Hollywood. Here go Trey, because they see Bridget from Hawaii. I didn't know the information. Also, last episode, he owes a lot of people some money. Okay, but he claiming he was raised in Hollywood, and here go Destiny. To get information like, oh, I went here too. What high school you went to? I don't want to say. It's a little embarrassing. I didn't finish school. And here go Destiny. Oh, me too, whatever. And he's like, well, how do you get kicked? He was saying like his grades. And she was like, for beating up some fake ass bitch. And then when she's trying to get a little bit more information, here go Josh. Oh, why are you intimidating him? He's alright. Blah, blah, blah. So, anyways, they go, and then they kind of leave it alone. And they're like, oh, okay, he's cool. So they tell Leah, not telling her everything. Even though Leah was the one who called them. They go in there and basically like chef's kiss. Oh, he's all right. But when they go in the car, they're like, our girl is in trouble. I think she's in trouble. And I think that's the same. In the meantime, again, right in we're part of Mineral Garden and stuff, a big part on the side. He up here going to work and got his face in the place again. Boobs out and everything. It was just like, oh my gosh, this is just too much. And at the same time, I think they're showing Diane in an outfit either the same or similar, and they're showing, like clips and showing Nikki and the producer just all happy. Basically, her career's being stolen by her, and she up here with with this Trejos and his rat tail. Okay, and And, basically she's just in the business just saying like, this is my man, I stick beside him. Now another scene was he talks to Xander. And he's like, basically your created a job, whatever, sucks, man. And Xander, I think his name is Xander, he was like, yeah, I agree. I don't get a chance to say what I really want to say, blah, 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 blah. And he's like, for example, I don't know about you saying this, but he ends up telling her, it's like, if it was up to me, because, we never had a dirty, nasty pop star in a long time. And he was like, if it was up to me, I would have her use the Pillsbury Door picture, Jizz picture that also was using Revenge Corn as her album cover, which I'm thinking like maybe unless they distribute, like, y'all, if y'all ever remember Madonna, which I heard a song because I watched when I was listening to Spotify, it came up as I was listening to some R&B or something, the mix that is a song called Famous Hollywood. She's actually on the soundtrack, a song with The Weeknd. It's listed like, I forgot who the other person was, but she's on the soundtrack on this. And I thought about like them, the only way to get away with something like this to put it on, because I'm thinking, what album company, who was going to allow to do that? They would have to blank it out unless you like have it inside some type of, like digital booklet or something. Like, I did see the book, Madonna Sex. Don't ask how I was able to see it, but yeah. And Justify My Love, the explicit video, as younger, okay? But what I'm saying is that that's the only way I think it could be like used. And Tasha was like, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. And he also, this is another seat that I forgot. He always had the Cocolina on deck. And he got, I don't know, who's getting supplied to cut it. So I don't know what's going on. And then it's like, I can't, I don't want to try to coke. I'm thinking because he doesn't want to do that. He's just like worried about the fentanyl in it. And he's like, my coke. And he's just like, oh, okay, don't show him, snorting. But it's just like, oh my gosh. It's another scene where we got Isaac, aka Moses. I think it's last name Smorman, singing and stuff. And I guess he wants to do it again, and then Joss is in there, and like I said, maybe he's in East Nation Center because maybe they're supposed to play so many times in between. And the girl, like I said, well, I got my glasses on, y'all. Finally, got my glasses. Yes, that I thought had braids. She pops up back again. That was who I thought had braids. But he basically tells her, Isaac's like, well, why don't you, don't you want to join? Don't you want to do it or whatever? And she's like, no, he says, you're not supposed to sail. You'll miss the experience. Then they go on about asking about her mother and stuff. And how, like I said, Josh feels still conflicted about doing stuff. And even I remember in the earlier scene, Cole was talking about like, how do you feel about wanting to do stuff like, do you miss your mom? And I think Josh around that time was saying, she still feels her presence there and all this other stuff. But I think it keeps being brought up to a point, like that's being used against her, but not to really help her, is to help her be used and abused more. And when her and Chloe was talking a bit, she's talking to her and a little bit about how she feels. Chloe doesn't really go into what happened to her at all, or like anything for background. But I did notice that Josh pulls his brush, which I'm not gonna lie, when I looked at some other people's reviews, I forgot how important the brush comes into play later on. She combs Cleo's hair with this brush, okay, the same one, and then cuts in seam. But going back to where they're talking about, when they're in the session with Isaac and, like not saying no, and everybody saying, you don't say no or anything. That's what Trey was saying, stuff like that. And, like working through the pain, like her with her experience with her mom. And they were talking about a man named Robert Plant, but how his music, he made some of the best music with a tragedy that he lost his son, I think was All This Love. And he was able to save and move people with this song. And you talk about you don't say no to experience. Okay, Josh was like tested Isaac. Okay, then if you don't say no to anybody, okay, we go ahead. You go ahead and kiss Ramsey, the woman I thought that had braids that kind of like disappeared but didn't disappear the last episode. He goes right to her and kisses her. And the judge was like, how you think Leia feel? He was like, well, I mean, it is what it is. It's, basically like we're not connected. So I guess it's Leia going with Isaac or whatever. I don't know what the hell's going on, okay? But he's like, this. And then she asks Isaac, will you kiss me? And he's like, oh, no, I don't, because Chadrick, he'll murder me. And, she like, sure, they kind of just left it alone. I was like, I thought to myself, with Josh, little do the last episode, he was up here, shooting him and with his golden pants on and stuff. No, you don't even know, the torture, I don't know how long, I don't know what's going on, it's just, So anyways, here we go with the dinner scene. Everyone's talking. I don't know if they finished or whatever. But Josh makes toast like, even though I don't really know y'all, but I'm happy y'all are a family, which means it has been very alone. And, it's very alone in accepting people. And, of course, she's just like, to the family, to family. I'm thinking, F is for fill in the blank of pluckery in this case. So, when they're talking about Cersei, Trejo decides to bring up as Alexander with, Angela Kim with, a thought to think of. And he's like, no, I don't want to talk about it. But he, of course, brings it up. And he's like, go ahead and say what you told me. And so Exeter brings up about, the Pills Dividor Jizz picture, being an album cover. And, of course, Josh is like, I don't want to be like basically be humiliated again or anything like that. Just nothing, she's like, she feels some type of way and she has a right to feel that way. And Trey's like, who cares what people think and blah, blah, blah. And, Josh just like, they get a little back and forth. But she reminds him, like, I've been in the business 10 something plus years. You just got in it. And, Let's nod her head. I think she said yes too as well. But she was like, yeah, take that, you asshole. That's pretty much what I think she wanted to say to him. So, Trejo's, speed us up because I'm already going, during that 30 minutes. He asks her, well, when was the last time you made a song that made up, you ever wrote and blah, blah, blah. She was like, there's a song called Daybreak or something that she had her second album. Of course, his little slaves and stuff is like, oh, yeah, blah, blah. And basically, he goes into her head to ask her, like, well, what made you lose your motivation or something like that? And she was like, I don't want to go to it. And he's all talking about nobody leaves secrets at this table. What does she know about Trejo's besides like him and his quote family, or people that should be asking for help and get the heck on? She doesn't know anything about Trejo's or none of these people neither. Okay, but yet, since they fired the chef, come to think, but I know this is so random. Did they go get carry out from Uber or something? Okay, never mind. I know that's just so random. But he finally gets her to admit, and this was a big point. It turned out her mom was like mommy dearest. No wire hanger. She was one of those moms, unfortunately, and this sadly has happened in real life. And unfortunately, we might hear some more stories about this, about childhood kids that were basically, were enslaved by their own parents and used and abused, for the money, mentally, physically break down. And not just even people in the industry, the people that you think would love you that would do this. So her mom, which they still never show us, to like, this may even explain her obsession that she always has to have, always has to be choked, or likes pain. Which I also paid attention to the back of her legs. When she was in the store, when they showed them, it looked like some bruises, but I first thought that maybe Trejo's made it, gave them to her or whatever, since they had to have this extreme, like Jack and Jill sometimes, whatever thing. But no, she has said that her mom, Trejo kept asking questions. Turns out her mom abused her with the same brush that was shown, like I said, in the first episode, and particularly, and like I said, when I seen with Chloe, when she was brushing Chloe's hair with the same particular brush. Her mom used to, when she didn't smile, when she didn't give her sleep. Basically, to make her quote unquote perfect, she would abuse her, and it would, basically break the skin. And so her mother continued. By the time we hear more information and more, her mother did this until, unfortunately, their battle with cancer had took a toll and made her weak, and she passed on. So basically, by the way, Trey says, like, do you miss this motivation? And she nodded, like, basically, yes. So sadly, it's basically, she has not only dealt with this abuse from her mom, that's traumatized, and then you got these people who, aren't really there for her. It seemed like it's Leo that's not there specifically for a paycheck somewhere. And here Trey was trying to twist around with Xander, like, so you stood there, so you just there for money, just like he tried to say on the low in the first episode about Leo's, like, oh, I would love to be your sister if I got paid. And it was as simple as that, because she's been doing this based on what we gather since she was a child, because she mentioned earlier in the episode or last episode, I don't know, but she did say something about her mom was the one who bought the house. And so, in a way, Trey was just this is going to be his weakness. And somehow she has twisted that the motivation went because the mom, abused her. And and it's sad, because it's connecting is if, pain needs to be made, or people need to be hurt in order for something good to come out of it. And, it's a traumatization that she still obviously could be, for what I gather is she loved her mom, but she hated what her mom loved to her, but at the same time, she still had a close connection, and probably wishing something that whenever there was good times happened, because, I don't know how long she was doing this to her, and that may not even be disclosed, but he asks her, do you still have that brush? And she's like, yeah. And I'm thinking, like, consider this people, and I still can't get over the fact he was talking about going to drag somebody's ass. He's electrocuting folks in the way talking. I'm like, I don't think this is going to be good. And they're already, people, he strangled Josh, and to help motivate her, strangling her and banging, having sex with her while she was making all these noises to try to make a quote remix for the song "I'm a Freak," which is supposed to be shelved with, oh, I need to say this, y'all, before we go to the last scene, because this was so inappropriate. I don't know who hell thought this was funny, but this was effing tasteless to the fullest. Now, Andrew, the guy who's the Live Nation guy, who's calling, let it be known, he trying to Destiny and Sham, well, really he was on the phone with Sham, and Destiny's in the car when they're waiting, for Layla to get back with Trails and Josh. And he's like, it's 65 minutes down the drain, whatever. Nikki about to trash her song and get rid of it, shelf it, whatever. And then, Destiny's pretending like, yeah, I'm in the background. Yeah, I'm already trying to do this song. And, there's something I think that was playing. And they were saying Josh is working on new songs just to distract him and get off the phone. Because he was like, all the stress but Andrew says this comment, all the stress I've been put through. And, put through it. I've been with my IBS. I've been bleeding like a kid at Jeffrey Einstein Island. There was nothing funny about that. Why did they keep this in? Okay, who wrote that shit? That could be a whole nother video rant itself. There was nothing about it. It was funny about it. It was distasteful. I know it was meant to be tasteful, and it was rewritten when the original the woman that was writing it should have been able to do that instead of, it was too woman enough, and it probably would have been a better series overall. I'm sorry, y'all, to rant, but I definitely would have put that in. So yeah, he asks her to get the brush. But I think right before ready, he tells Isaac to lay to bed. That's code for go D her down and put her to bed, before he goes and does this effery with her. He tells her go get the brush, and I'm like, I had a feeling like I said, this is not going to be good. So they had her, of course, Weekend got played one of his one of his songs again, and she goes get the brush and she walks down, and it was in her, of course, the people there, and she goes down to her knees as if, now this is information, but she's also like worshiping and idolizing him to a point, because she's going down her knees, and he tells her, this will hurt, but it'll be beautiful in the end, because he's basically thinking like Coco is going to help her with the writing. And they go to the scene. They don't show it at first, and they don't actually really show it, but you don't know what's going to happen. But at the same time, they showed it, like, again, back and forth filming that they did. They go ahead and they're showing the next day. They're in the bath together and all this other stuff. And then they show they don't show where he hit her on the back, did he hit her on the pop, but you show her crying and he's all kissing her and stuff. So he has taken the role and switched around, where now he's taken the role of the mom and is not abuser, and and she says the next day, like, thank you for taking care of me, and then it ends. I'm like, oh my gosh. I don't know how it's going to end, but like I said, it did get better. Not like I said, but like, yeah, I'm glad I kept watching it because it's so much better, but it does like give a point to maybe explaining why the way she is. And like I said, Trey trying to say like Alexander was getting paid for money, blah blah blah, but it was nothing he could do. And I don't know, Alexander's the same age as, I don't know how long it was, like he could only so much he could do, because I don't know if he's been around, was he around Josh's age or a little bit older or whatever, but it's kind of like it was only so much you could do, because if she was the mom manager and she could have had the house, it's maybe a lot of layers. Or he didn't do anything because he but he sure was there somewhat quiet, but like watched her. But at the same time, who knows how many times he watched or thought he couldn't do anything or say anything while it was pacified with her being abused by her mom. And like I said, I'm about almost 40 minutes in, but sorry y'all with a little extra rant. Heck, I'm about to be the same times the show. But hugs and love, everybody. I'll see you in the next one, and take care, and I'm out.